Mr. Bones is very strong. Mr. Bones is never wrong. Mr. Bones, he has no nose. Mr. Bones, he has no clothes. Mr. Bones, he has no nose. Mr. Bones, he has no clothes. Mr. Bones, he has no hair. Mr. Bones, he doesn't care. Mr. Bones is made of bones. That is why he's Mr. Bones. Mr. Bones, he's made of bones. That is why he's Mr. Bones. Mr. Bones is very strong. Mr. Bones is never wrong. Mr. Bones, he has no nose. Mr. Bones, he has no clothes. Mr. Bones, he has no hair. Mr. Bones, he doesn't care. Mr. Bones is made of bones. That is why he's Mr. Bones. Mr. Bones is very strong. Mr. Bones is never wrong.
Got the flags on the tall, we are already packed. The family's decked out in garnet and black. Got meat on the menu, I smoke it real slow. Been on it since Thursday, now it's ready to go. These are the days we are blessed with, just a few times a year. So forever to thee, Carolina is here. From the swamps and the PV to up where the mountains yawn, celebrating these game days because they don't last that long. Yes, soon they'll be gone. The gathering started, a drink and a meal. The sons and the daddies, a toss and the pill. These are the days we are blessed with, just a few times a year. So forever to thee, Carolina is here. From the swamps in the feed up where them mountains yawn, celebrating these game days because they don't last that long. Yeah, soon they'll be gone. It's Mad Dog and JC, you already know. So come on, let's go. It's the Carolina Football Tailgate Show. Tailgate Show.
Welcome in the Inside the Gamecocks, the Tailgate Show. JC Shurburtt here, along with Mad Dog Phil Mullinax, who's in his van down by the river. Well, Lottie freaking da!
Lottie freaking da! It's been an adventure this week, JC. It has been, man.
It is another Carolina football game day, another huge Southeastern Conference game. The Gamecocks play Ole Miss, the 12th ranked team in the country. Probably were supposed to be top 5 coming in.
Yeah.
I think last week I convinced myself, or really the last 2 weeks, because the Akron weekend, man, I just sat around and watched ball. Didn't really celebrate these game days like my dog's doing now and like the song says. But it just kind of dawned on me, like, I said it all summer, and it was just a theory or an opinion that this game is unpredictable and that a lot of people are assuming a lot of things and they shouldn't. And I think I've talked myself into not even trying to really be confident or not confident or whatever. I'm kind of in an abyss about this game. Yeah, I was confident about the LSU game. I was upset, or not upset, just kind of disappointed, if you will, with the way the Gamecocks played against Old Dominion. So Kentucky was just kind of, I don't know that I worried about it so much. I thought they'd play better. I didn't expect what they did. But, I mean, this game just – I felt weird. I feel weird about it. And I think I'm personally subconsciously buying into the whole wish they hadn't lost because you're going to poke the bear and make him upset. Guys, this isn't Georgia or Alabama.
No.
This is Ole Miss. And I'm not trying to disparage them. They have a lot of good talent on this football team, but so do the Gamecocks. And you could pull out like Bill Conley. And I give him a hard time. I know that, he works hard. He's got a nice little system. People read it. You should consume all the metrics you want, but he takes that and his little FP, whatever, and writes it. And he's like, according to my calculations, Ole Miss is much better. Well, no shit.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse my language. They've played like, look, and again, I'm not faulting Ole Miss because, man, these football schedules, Phil, they're made like years in advance. I don't know that everybody's grasped that because, I think the Gamecocks had a game on the schedule like one of the 2013. And they were at UCF. They played Navy during that stretch. And people kind of jumped on, I think the Navy game actually was 2011, but people jumped, or no, it was 13. No, Lattimore played against Navy, so it was 11. People jumped on Ray Tanner for the UCF game. I'm like, bro, that was scheduled. Hyman and those guys did that.
Oh, I know. You keep kicking an App State game down the road too.
Yeah. Well, Tanner's like, I don't know that we're going. Tanner's like this British pub proprietor, where, he's like, well, this contract we can pay later, and it's like, oh, App shows up, probably somebody that looks like, with the I don't know that I want to like make fun of anybody in Western North Carolina right now, but
right. No, I know.
Honestly, App shows up and it's like, I think we're not going to do this, SC Scout guy in the chat box points out that Missouri's playing at UMass.
Yeah,
young folks, look around. No, look. Even Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss goes to Georgia State. They played at Wake. But a few years ago, when you're putting this bad boy together, if you're the Rebels, you're like, all right. Let's start with Furman. Okay, Furman, playoff FCS team, lots of tradition. I don't know if it was the portal or whatever hit them. They're not not really that good this year, Paladins, and I like I pull for them, so that kind of hurts a little piece of my soul. All right, we're going to bring in Middle Tennessee State. You're thinking Rick Stockstill. You're thinking, they gave Missouri all they wanted. They beat Miami by 2 touchdowns. Probably not, but it's probably even before that, but under Stockstill, they were a dangerous football team,
Right.
Well, now they got Derek Mason, and just like
we all know how that goes.
He's horrible first year, and he'll find one of his rivals to beat. They played Memphis real tough, like they did Tennessee. Like his whole existence at Vandy was about playing like butt all year, but then pulling the improbable upset like Georgia that one year. He actually beat Kirby Smart in their first meeting.
Scaring the crap out of Tennessee. Yeah.
All of a sudden, well, they beat Tennessee 4 out of 6 years. I
know.
They beat Pruitt. They beat Champions of Life. They beat Derek Dooley. It was crazy. And so you're like Middle Tennessee. All right. Okay, well, so we're going to do a stupid thing, and it was stupid then, and go at Wake Forest. Why would you do that? So, and then Georgia Southern, traditional power, very competitive in the Sun Belt. So when they put this together, they probably like, hey man, this may not look, how do people, I'll do a Mississippi accent. Well, I declare, this Rebel schedule may not look like much. There may not be any, but these are very tough competitive football teams, I must say. But this year they've all gone to crap. It's like that year Notre Dame made the playoffs, and everybody's like, Notre Dame had a very tough schedule. They beat Florida State. Florida State was 5-7. They beat Southern Cal. Southern Cal was 5-7. They beat Virginia Tech and Blacksburg. It was a miracle Virginia Tech got to their 20th straight bowl or wwhatever that year. They had this fluke win against Virginia. They were also a losing team. But they beat Michigan in the first game. Michigan was like 8-4. Granted, it was in Ann Arbor. And then they proceeded to go to the Cotton Bowl and got the stuffing beat out of them. The tater stuffing. Not a Clemson reference there, but Irish to taters. No. Well, we're going to beat the taters, but we got this tater stuffing beat out of us. There's a tater famine. And Ed, yeah, I'm sad about UNLV. Happy for Fran Brown and Syracuse in some ways. But, man, UNLV's played a bunch of FBS teams. If they win the Mountain West, again, Liberty does not deserve – I don't give a flip about Liberty. I don't give a crap about nothing but the UNLV. But I don't think they deserve to be in at all. Now, I was pumping up Bowling Green for a pair of moral victories, and lo and behold, the Old Dominion Monarchs beat them last week for ODU's first win.
Yeah, woohoo!
So Old Dominion. So does that mean Old Dominion's as good as Texas A&M and Penn State? No, but they beat them by similar things.
The transitive property always works,
the transitive property will get you beat, man. It'll get you beat. So I don't know, but my point is, Ole Miss can't help. I mean, you play the schedule you want to play, and like I said yesterday on the show, having watched a lot of Clemson football, sometimes that week schedule matters.
Yeah,
and I think it did matter for Ole Miss last week. Sometimes it doesn't. Because I've seen Clemson beat up on the Sisters of the Poor, and then they'll go play an SEC team and win in the playoff or whatever. So it just depends on how good this team is. What's their mindset? Lane Kiffin, in his press conference on Monday, seemed like he was going to a funeral. But sometimes he's not – he's kind of a deadpanner. You know, he just kind of sits there. Well, brother, I think that, that's how he talks. So you can't really play anything like that. I think Ole Miss will come in ready, but I will remind everybody, Ole Miss, you look at their personnel, they're good, okay?
Yeah,
they've got some stars.
There's talent on this roster, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But whenever you look at it, there's some spots they're not.
Yeah.
Secondary is one. They were pretty cool, confident about their offensive line, but it hadn't come to fruition yet. And Jerquan Scott, who Carolina actually recruited out of the portal, coming over from Houston, Lane was saying at the press conference he was supposed to play center. Well, he missed a lot of time. So they've been kind of banged up front. That's dangerous when you play South Carolina. How good is their line compared to Kentucky's? I don't know. How good is their line compared to LSU? It's not. It doesn't compare. I think if they had LSU's offensive line, there'd be some stuff, tough stuff today. So that's the question on the day. The concern I have, I'm not worried about the point spread either. Shane Beamer's won 6 games in 3 and a 4th year. I don't think nobody's ever. You want something that's never been done? Any coach that's been here has never done that since they've been keeping the point spread. Maybe back in the day, I don't know. Like even I don't think Carolina was a massive underdog in '84. All those times, I think they were underdogs, but not by. Beamer's won 6 games when he's an underdog by more than a touchdown. So they're kind of dangerous. The Gamecocks. I'm not worried about that. I am worried about this. Offensive scheme versus defensive scheme. And I think sometimes we get caught up and worried about that too much. But I look at it and I'm like, if they get time and then they love to adjust, and then Carolina's defense is different. Kentucky's more of a, like you said, keep it in front of you. Carolina gambles. They'll put their corners on an island in a heartbeat. Sometimes last year they're safeties.
Yeah. Right.
So, so you get concerned about that. I think on the other side of the ball, you look at Carolina's passing game that has not been good. And look, I'm going to say this. the stats are the stats. All these games this year with Sellers going out 2 straight weeks and having to go to Ashford and then Ashford being in against Akron, you don't, the game plan changes, so Sellers really he had 1 full game. It was not good against Old Dominion, but 10 of 14. Kentucky was a game Carolina had to throw the ball. I'll remind everybody, Rocket had a 54 yards, but like 26 on 2 carries late. Yeah. They weren't running the ball against Kentucky, and so they had to throw it. I think this could be that type of game. I do think South Carolina's offensive line needs to play well. Princely, he's not playing.
But not going to play today. Yeah.
in classic Gamecock fashion, the guy that replaces him, they got 2 possibilities. The first guy is that guy from Jacksonville State. The Gamecocks couldn't block last year at all.
Man, yeah, that guy was a record, dude.
He almost stayed at Jack State too. Nobody. They finally got in the portal and snuck over to Ole Miss. I was kind of hoping the Gamecocks would go get him. I was like, that guy's good. From a small town in Alabama. I think it's Chris Hardy or something. So watch out for that guy. He's going to come in full of confidence. And then they've got a kind of smaller linebacker type, had 2 sacks last week. I don't have their depth chart in front of me. I'm sorry, but he's good too. Their linebackers, like I said, they're good guys, good players. They're a lot like those Ellis Johnson defense linebackers Carolina had outside of Jasper Brinkley for a year. They Rodney Paulk, Shaq Wilson, those types, good college football players. Probably not like Alabama's and Georgia's linebackers or Kentucky's, but they're good, fundamentally sound football players. Where Ole Miss on defense and their scheme does bust is the secondary. And it's been that way. Even Saban's defenses in this scheme sometimes, because they put so much on their defensive backs mentally. So Carolina's going to have a good game plan. Dowell Loggins going to have a good day play calling for the Gamecocks to rock and roll. The award-winning Nana's Porch chat box. Ed mentioned UNLV. SC Scout Guy says Virginia played at Coastal Carolina. Yeah, it was a big win for Tony Elliott. Mm-hmm. I don't know that many people thought UVA would win.
No, I picked them to lose. I remember that.
Yeah. Cam says, DJ, you go out and have the best game of your life today. He's not.
Yeah.
Mysteriously, he's got an injury.
He's injured on the one game.
So I went and looked up Brock Glenn, and I'm like, well, he's a redshirt freshman from Tennessee at Florida State. They gave that guy 4 stars. And I'm like, look, I'm all for players develop at different times and all that good stuff. But at quarterback, if you're truly a 4-star guy, as bad as DJU was playing, even if you're not quite ready, Norvell would have gone with you. I mean, at some point after 5 games, you're like, this is not working out. So sometimes I've seen in college football when you have a team that's really struggling and they have very bad quarterback play, when they change quarterbacks, sometimes it lightens them up. I mean, we've seen it around here. Jake Bentley in 16 turned it around. And then we have, the Tannehill legend in 92. So I just don't know how good this Brock Glenn kid is, because he's only starting out of necessity. They're not trying to rally the troops or anything. I don't know. My guess is Clemson's going to roll today, but stranger things have happened. I'm not convinced some of that talent Florida State has is really talented. But I will say, since Georgia Tech, their defense and early in Boston College actually went up and down the field on them. But the defense has stopped people.
Yeah.
I mean, they stopped the mighty Cal Bears that are hosting game day today. And apparently there's a big crowd out in Berkeley, dude.
Yeah. Do you think this is going to be a bit more resistance that Clemson's seen since, say, Georgia? I mean, the most resistance defensively? I mean, I don't know, because it's like with FSU, I mean, even though their portal class at this point looked like not necessarily a home run, there's still some dudes out there.
Yeah, they got some guys that'll play in the NFL, and you look at NC State, you look at Stanford. Man, Stanford's got a tough team, physical football team.
Yeah,
but they're like playing a mediocre Big Ten squad with your Clemson. There's so much speed. I mean, they couldn't keep up. they're better on defense than NC State and Appalachian State. Again, not going to rub it in for the folks in Boone. But, yeah, and it's on the road. You know, they're not at the friendly confines. There is a chance that, I mean, you know, kids these days, players, they look at everything. I mean, you can't, it's all on their phone. Yeah, back in the day, you could hide the newspaper and quarantine guys, but we're not going to say anything. We're just going to cut off the outside world. You can't do that now.
No.
Because the dude's girlfriend's going to text his phone, and then he's get score updates. Everybody knows Florida State's bad, and it's 1-4.
Right.
And Clemson's been blowing people out. So there are elements of a surprise. It's down there. It's at night. So, you know, who knows? We know at night sometimes as the drinks start to flow, there's a confidence that comes in the crowd. Early kickoffs, not so much. But we see, well, hey, Phil Climate, go nowhere. You know. Yesterday, South Carolina got some really good, surprising recruiting news again.
Yeah, no doubt.
We talked about Donovan Murph reclassifying, and look, when these two guys, Jordan Gidron and Donovan Murph, came on the radar, I'm like, two Columbia highly rated guys, and you know, at receiver, started thinking about Aries Curry a little bit. You know, he ended up just going to Clemson because he wanted to go somewhere else, and you know, sometimes Columbia kids want to go away from Columbia. Not often. Gamecocks have done a great job, but I mean, there's a list. You know, you remember the kid from Spring Valley that played at Georgia. God, what's his name? How am I forgetting? It's on the tip of my tongue that they lost.
I wish I could look up something quicker than I can.
He was drafted. He ended up he was there 5 years, had a good career. Mm-hmm. Nevertheless, I mean, you know, but South Carolina usually gets Columbia. Jordan Birch hightailed it to Oregon. Obviously, he played that game Oregon Trail quite a bit as a young man and wanted to head on out there, right?
That's right. Hey, it worked for Bo Nix.
So I looked at it and I was like, well, realistically, if the Gamecocks can get one of these two guys, that's fine, you know, because they're probably, and now Murph is not in Hale told us, you know, Murph's going to take more visits. He's reclassifying. He can actually wait till February. He may stretch it out. But I was told there's a reason for the Murph crystal ball and that all these guys want to play together. Jordan Gidron from Ridgeview yesterday. I got an announcement to make an announcement. And at 5, he goes, I'm reclassifying, committed to the Gamecocks. I'm home. All right. So what does that mean? All right. So Jordan's had some injuries this year. He's just getting back. He's a guy that's really fast, 10.68 100-meter. He's big, 6'2", not 6'4", but 6'2", outside guy. He has the grades and academic situation to come in January. I think that's good because I don't know that next season, 2025, is going to be optimal right now as things stand today for him to come in and start or whatever. But I think the chances are higher of him making a quick development if he comes in early and plays. And you know what's kind of set this off is the Ryan Williams thing. Ryan Williams reclassified.
Yeah.
He's 17. So now you watch him play at Alabama. You're like, oh my gosh, I can do this. But it looks like the Gamecocks are going to sweep those guys. And I tell you, that's critical for Shane Beamer, Darren Usher. I wrote a story on the Big Spur yesterday about 5 reasons the Gamecocks recruiting fortunes of, and it's kind of all the above, from NIL to Beamer to Usher to the play on the field, the atmospheres. You guys supporting NIL, you guys coming to the games and yelling, and game day coming.
Yeah.
So it's tremendous. But
that was my biggest question was, can he come in early or is he going to have to come in after the full school year? So good news on him being able to enroll early for sure.
He's January, and then Murph is not. But
I knew Murph was one. Yeah. That
he's the more physically polished of the two, though. He's physically kind of ready to come in and play. Of course, if I'd have looked at Mazio Bennett last year, physically skinny, all that, I don't know that he'll play. But hey, lo and behold, he's a leading receiver. So what do I know about that? But just glancing at the two. But definitely a big pickup. Recruiting's going very well. And adding those two guys to 2025, that kind of changes the narrative. Malik Clark probably going to commit to the Gamecocks soon. Josh Smith from Blythewood, decommitted from Coastal, probably coming with the Gamecocks. So a big in-state heavy class. And in a year like this, where maybe you didn't get the out-of-state 5-star like you had the last 2 years and all that, give me a bunch of South Carolina kids. We all know the talent in that state, and we all know that most of them are, 3 stars that play like 4s and 4s that play like 5s. Stephen asked in the chat box, will there be a change when the schedules are not made so far in advance? I think so. I think it has to be with the playoff and the constant movement of conferences.
Yeah.
And
I think the moving to 9 games is going to slow that down and back those numbers up. Yeah.
We'll get to the injury report here in a second for the Gamecocks. Cam says Sellers could have played against Akron, needs all the reps he can get. Yeah, I don't know. He played against LSU. I wish he could have finished the game. I mean, he was and he played much better against Kentucky. Cam says, what's up with Marquis Anderson? He's just behind Kamar Bell. Kamar, so we'll see.
He's been getting some snaps, though. I mean, I saw him out there for Akron for sure. I don't remember if he played in anything before that, but he's out there. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I thought he looked fine. He had a back injury, so they're kind of being careful with him.
Yeah.
You don't want to make that a long-term thing. SC South guy says, I saw Xavier McLeod's dad complaining he only had 2 snaps at UGA. Why? They're loaded.
Right.
Did you not know that? You have not arrived. You weren't playing at Carolina.
I know.
Hopefully he's not the next Bear Alexander, but who knows?
Yeah.
Cam says Dart didn't respond well to pressure. Most quarterbacks don't. What you worry about with him is him running out and getting yards.
Yeah. Yeah, because he'll move. He's got some moves. Yeah.
S.C. Scott, Channing Tindall. How did I not remember? I had it starts with a C.
Oh, yeah.
I'm getting old, Phil. Getting old.
I know that feeling.
Good morning, Jacob. Williams, everybody says. Everybody Phil's in the mystery machine today.
Yeah, that's right. In a van down by the river.
In a van down by the look, Dad, is that Bill Shakespeare there?
Oh, a writer.
Oh, Lottie freaking oh gosh, Dad. Nobody's responded on the big spurt. Am I? Oh well.
Yeah.
I asked him what's on the menu, and nobody's wanting to say what's on the menu. I don't know. Everybody's internet and stuff is so screwed up that the traffic's been sort of down there. But,
I know, man. It's been crazy.
All right, so let's get to what's on the menu. By the way, for these little segments on the show, we got some surprises next week.
Yeah. Oh, they're going to be
great.
working
on. Quantrell says, how are guys reclassifying so easy nowadays, JC? Honestly, just to be frank with you, Quantrell, kids are making better grades than they used to. That generation's doing pretty well at school, at least to qualify. You don't really hear a lot of guys that don't make it. You have a few, and like Xavier Hardy. We had an update on him from Hale. I don't want to talk about it right now, but he went to 2 different schools. A lot of times it's that if they do get they'll go to 2 or 3 different high schools, and that screws them up. But man, it's there you go. I mean, I'm happy for that. That's good for the world. Now, we can talk about college educations and some subjects and stuff of what they mean these days, and the fact that you can make 3 times the money if you go learn how to be an electrician than if you get a degree in history these days. But getting that, making good grades in high school, graduating, setting yourself up for that. I mean, there's something to be said for that. It's just, our society is, gotten better. I think the state of South Carolina's education has gotten better.
Yeah.
Kids are coming to school with less grade problems. So, that's pretty cool. Bruin Nation is saying Jaden Sellers needs to be up. I'm hearing that too, man. And everybody's talking about everybody else and just assuming Jaden may be better than all these guys. I'm going to say that right now. Jaden Sellers may be better than every single receiver in this class.
That only stands to benefit the Gamecocks. So I'll take that all day long.
I said may. that word may, because I'm not necessarily I haven't sat down and done a comparison and all that good stuff. But looking at Sellers just himself, he may be. That it's not. There's not a lot of. You don't go, oh well, you know, like in that movie A League of Their Own. It's kind of like that because like and then there's Marla Hooch and you look way back, you know, and they just throw her in, but she's the best ball player, one of the best ball players on the team outside of Gina Davis. You know, she's better than Madonna and Rosie O'Donnell.
That's right.
Marla Hooch.
Oh, Marla Hooch.
It's just disrespectful, and it's because of her looks, obviously. But with Sellers, it's probably because of his last name, his early commit, and you know that happens. Kind of a legacy, committing to a school that's that the industry does not really. Oh, we're just going to give him 3 stars. They don't ever go back and look. Oh, he's just a legacy.
Whatever. Yeah, well, he's going there because his brother went there and they let him in. Yeah,
no,
that's not the case.
Keep his brother. Pimp says, is Javon Kinlaw an NFL bust? He's had some good moments. Look, that league's hard.
Yeah,
I don't know that if you how long's Javon been in the league? 5 years. Yeah. If you last that long, you don't have to work anymore.
Right.
With your first rounder, he doesn't have to I suppose you could. Some get addicted to cocaine and things like that and spend all their money. But not Javon though. And so I wouldn't call him a NFL bust. If you notice, the draft is kind of like recruiting rankings. It's about 60% with first rounders, maybe less.
Yeah. I mean, and he's still on a roster. So, you know, unless he just got cut, but as of, I think I looked a couple weeks ago, he was still playing. So
yeah. What's on the menu? I forgot. I got sidetracked. I was so disappointed nobody put anything in my thread. I wrote an article yesterday. Everybody's like, we love your writing. I guess you don't, but you don't love my menu style, did you?
You don't. I know. I saw you got a lot of love for that article you wrote yesterday. I haven't been able to read it yet. I'm looking forward to it sometime.
Yeah, it's all right. It's 5 reasons for the recruit. I like to do lists these days. Cam says they're starting college credits in 8th grade now. Yes, they are. My stepson's got some college. Both of them have college credits. So Cat Daddy comes in. So it's what's on the menu. What's on the menu? Cat Daddy says he's making sausage balls right now. That's the menu you're talking about. Waiting on the Missouri Tigers, Texas A&M Aggies, the Big 12 match. Oh, I'm sorry, not that. The SEC matchup. Some are saying of the day. That's another thing about the media this week. Oh, yeah, Ole Miss, South Carolina. It's going to be an okay game, but Missouri A&M.
Yeah, I know. I don't even know why. Am I crazy in thinking that it's strange that A&M is favored in this game? I don't know. I haven't, seen that much of either one, but it just seems like, I don't know, maybe the hype's wearing off of Mizzou, and that's why it is. I know I know they're playing in College Station.
The hype is wearing off, but it's like, and remember, everybody, I'll remind everybody of this. Everybody thought Mizzou was just going to bounce back after the close win against Boston College and beat the crap out of Vandy. And Vandy almost beat them. Boston College was up. Then Missouri scored like 24 straight points. And then BC got a garbage touchdown to make it close, or a touchdown to make it close at the end. Vandy, they should have lost. Okay, so teams don't always just bounce back. Now, like Nick Saban said last week, playing bad and winning is a kiss of death because losing is actually a little easier from a coaching standpoint. But A&M has won some close games. I think A&M, Kentucky, Oklahoma, I'll throw in there. Maybe the Gamecocks end up being this way, but it's hard to say that about a team that's 31, 33, and 50 points the last 3 games.
Right.
It's not like they're 17-7 type games. I do think that I do think all those teams are kind of similar, kind of figuring out on offense. A&M, Oklahoma have gone to young freshman quarterbacks already. How's that? How are all those? You want to ask? I'm not going to point out Brad Crawford because Brad is one of many that does quarterback rankings. I love him to death. I don't always agree with him. So I'm not talking about Brad. How are all those league quarterback rankings going for everybody? Who had Blake Shappen and Connor Weidman and Jackson Arnold? Boy, they
Jackson
were way
Arnold.
up there.
He was a hot name, hot commodity.
Somebody said, I think it was the same guy that said Joe Milton was the best quarterback in college football that said Connor Weidman's the best quarterback in the SEC. Well, I know he got hurt again, but even when he was healthy,
let's hope he didn't put too much money on that.
Was that 12 for 30 performance against Notre Dame? Was that what made you think that, sir?
Which is ample.
So anyway, it's a first game. First regarding Henry, and now a league of their own at reference. Regarding Henry is an epic. I have a shirt that Phil sent me with Indiana Jones picture on. I'll wear it someday. This is this regarding Henry. Bruin gives us our scouting report. So Jacob's like Malik Clark, Lex Cyrus, Jaden Sellers, Donovan Work, Jordan Gidron. What a nice 2025 class. Yeah, and I think they'll go for a experienced outside receiver or two in the portal.
Yeah, why not? I mean,
like a 6-foot guy, because Campbell's gone. I mean, if Harbor can show signs of being that guy, maybe they won't, but they need outside guys. You don't want to depend on true freshmen in that capacity. You want big physical guys out there. I don't think we've heard the last of Delvon Campbell or Nick Harbor this year. Delvon Campbell's kind of sleeper of the day. He and Larvadan.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, I don't know, nobody's talking about those guys. For the Win checks in with what's on the menu. Smoked wings with the fryer with jalapeno crab dip. Lance is on his way to being toasted. Latte Lance. Beer is on the menu for him. We know.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob says A&M likes their second straight quarterback. I like him too. He's real smooth. He and Oklahoma's kid too are very calm. They don't like wow you, but they're steady. And I think quite frankly, they got issues on the offensive line at A&M. Marcel Reed calms them down and if you're Elko and you got a good defense, you want your offense not to beat you,
Yeah, right.
And there's a clip of there Notre Dame, and they've already lost. I didn't even understand it because they're down 10 late, and he's just like, run the ball, so that's it. Phil's not without power, Craig, but without internet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got it. Yeah, and the company he has, they quit communicating. They cut off all communication.
Yeah, Spectrum hasn't talked to us in 3 days. And it was funny because it was last Friday when all of it was going down. They were sending the text messages on when we were going to get power restored. And it was like, we expect power restoration by 7:30 tonight. And we're like, that's a load of crap. And they went with that until it said after midnight. And then they really have kind of just kicked the can down the road, which I'm not expecting it. But we have an alternate internet source that will be coming in next week to make things all better.
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I had to get an alternate internet source myself.
I know,
just because the kids love to download it. So I guess Jamel House has an announcement today. He's another 2026 guy from Newberry.
Man,
I think if he's committing or reclassifying, it's got to be South Carolina, unless he just wants to go to Virginia Tech or Louisville.
Yeah.
And then this, interesting enough, we were talking about Mikael Skinner from Riverside, and Hale's like, "We don't want to say back." He's kind of coy about it.
Hmm.
And you got the scholarship expansion, so kids will. I mean, I hope this doesn't. I'm going to say this. I'm glad the Gamecocks are getting these guys in the boat. I hope this doesn't become a trend where guys are skipping their senior year of high school.
Right. Yeah.
I just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better than staying in high school and not playing, in my opinion. But I have to think it's the Gamecocks if he does reclassify, or maybe he's just going to commit. But maybe that's the reason. He's good. He's a good player. I'm trying to think that, who was the last guy they got in Newberry? Was it Cecil Caldwell? They got that kid that was the D tackle, Davis, that wasn't all that good. But yeah, Newberry's a Gamecock place.
Yeah.
So
should be.
Kreger in the chat box was one of the receiver that we flipped from A&M. Nobody talks about. He's a freshman. I can't. DeBron Gatling. He got hurt in the spring. He was doing good things before that, and he's just behind other guys. You know, that's one of the reasons I'm like, I knew Mazio Bennett has this special quality about him. They go up and make plays. My concern was his size. But I knew he could catch the ball, kind of like Shi Smith, not as fast as Shi in a straight line, but make tough catches in high school. I look at that. And then kind of Kenny McKinley-esque with the way he moves. So I knew he would play for different reasons. I think DeBron just got behind. I didn't know he was so much of a sure thing. So he's fine. He just hasn't played. And anybody that hasn't played, I'm just going to say this. Even if they're freshmen, there's two things I'm always going to say. Number one, I'm not throwing dirt on them as a player at all. Number two, they may transfer. And kids these days, sometimes they'll get as a freshman and they don't play. And it's just like, things happen in their lives too. Maybe they met a nice, sweet young lady and they were dating in August and September and everything was hunky-dory and you think you're in love. I'm in love. And then you're not playing. And maybe, Scotty sophomore gets on the field and she's really the type of girl just likes she'd date the whole football team, not all at once, if she could. Like that song Popular by Not a Surf. You can date anybody you want, every boy, every Johnny football. And maybe she dumps you for your teammate. Well, for an 18-year-old, that can cause some emotions, right? That in your mind, sometimes that becomes more important than football and hurts. You get depressed and you're away from home. I'm not saying that's DeBron Gatling at all. I'm just saying with the free transfer now, sticking it out for any reason, it's rare.
Yeah.
Very rare. So those are two things. JC Sears question Bruin says, do you think these guys are doing this for NIL purposes? Afraid Congress may actually step in? Man, I'd be very surprised if that was part of the thought process. I mean, there's going to be.
I think you'd be seeing it more widespread if that were like, it wouldn't just be like Carolina popping off. It'd be other teams.
I think the Ryan Williams thing is what put it in people's mind because a lot of times if you have a guy that comes in early, I mean, Jake Bentley came in early, but he was older. We all know that, right? It's been a mixed bag and it's been rare, but I think expanded scholarships along with the Ryan Williams thing makes it a better sell because there's more room. I mean, you can have like a sub freshman class.
Right.
VK says not sure the OU quarterback's going to make it with the way he plays. Well, we will see.
Yeah,
I'm with you. I think he runs. He like Robbie Ashford kind of runs like him, but Robbie Ashford's a grown man.
Right.
Robbie Ashford's 6'3", 230 and runs like the wind. So Spurs Up says, what happens with Kelton Henderson? I don't know the details other than it's off the field. He's not. I don't even think he's playing football anywhere. So that was for that reason sort of a risky take. But what I was told by somebody in Florida is that good to go to South Carolina, get your head right, away from some of the influences. I guess that didn't happen. And all that. All right. So the injury or the uniform report, Phil, has anything come out? I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen anything either. I've been looking on Twitter, but I may be. Oh. Is it just? Are they going to go all garnet? Is that what they're doing?
I don't know. All right. So, by the way, real quick on the menu for me today, some sort of chicken. We're going to our little watering hole, so I'm sure Nat will have an omelet, maybe some little smokies later. Phil, any kind of food around the house today? I know you guys.
I have no idea where I'm even watching the game tonight. So I don't know. Well, whatever's on the menu, wherever I decide to plant my ass will be what we eat.
All right. So Will heard black garnet black.
Yeah. Black garnet black. Yeah.
Have they worn those since Muschamp? I tell you what I would like to see. There's two things I would like three. Actually, three. And I don't care. I care. I have my preferences like all of y'all. And when you have a school that has two primary colors, there's always going to be debate about uniforms.
Yeah.
And when you change them as often as Carolina has through the years, you're going to get it. So number one, my preference would be, and they're not going to do this. My preference would be to say, all right, hey, that uniform they wore against Akron's pretty sharp. The young people love it. The old people love it. Let's just roll with that. And it's sharp. It's things. Bell bottom jeans came back in the 90s. Fashion kind of trends. I would rock that with the white helmets and all garnet, or I go big game garnet like Spurrier.
Yeah,
I think Carolina wore that the last time Ole Miss came in. I think were they all garnet that night?
Gosh, I don't know. I got the video
I
here.
think so. I have a picture of Steven Garcia I pulled up. Anyway, find that out. We'll find that out.
Yeah.
I can do it right now. Oh, yeah. Big game garnet, all garnet with the white helmets. That's my assumption.
Yeah.
I would hope. And then I would hope they would wear that. Beamer was here that year,
Right.
The other option is Fire Ants. It's the 40th anniversary of 84. If they can, I don't know if they probably have these helmets. All garnet with the Jomo style helmet with the white circle.
The white circle. Yeah.
That'd be pretty solid.
It'd be nice if they kept that, under the, kept that close to the vest and then just busted it out this evening. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be good. And VK says don't seem to play well with any color. Well, Kentucky last year they won all black.
Yeah.
Usually the big games under Beamer traditionally have had the, what is it, Phil? The black helmets with
black helmet.
Garnet.
Yeah, because it's been that Texas Tech look almost.
Yeah, black helmets with all garnet on it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Jeff says, "Mad Dog in your car?" Yeah.
Yes, Jeff. I sure am. I'm getting texts about it too because I'm actually in my wife's car, so we're gonna have to wrap this.
Yeah, Gary says, "What's the deal with Touchdown Russell?" By the way, thank you, Gary, for being a club chief member. We didn't go live with that last week on the show, and we're just kind of. You don't want to kick people that don't join. You don't want to not ignore. We thought maybe there'd be some, but that's coming, and we've got newsletters coming next week and packages. If you are a member of Club Chief, please insidethegamecocks@gmail.com, mailing address, t-shirt size, email address, all that. Yeah. Touchdown Russell, I have no idea. He may be hurt. He may be redshirting. I have no idea. So that's the thing right there. All right. So what's on the menu? So uniform report. We don't. Injury report. I don't think there's been a final one for Carolina. Has there been for Ole Miss, Phil?
I think it was just the stuff from yesterday where, of course, Kiffin is really leaning into this, full, put 15 names, 20 names on there. And yeah, but
well, a lot of these guys don't play. I mean, they're guys that are out for the year. So I'll run through it quickly. Ja'Kai Moore, Kelvin Hunter's out. So that leaves Jalua Solomon only at nickel. Maybe David Spalding could come in there if something happened to Jalen Kilgore. Of course, Sanders, Sellers, and Brown are probable. I'll just tell you what I heard. Sanders was 70%, 75%. Sellers, 95%. I didn't get a number on Brown. He's supposed to play. For Ole Miss, Cedric Beavers, Isaiah Hartrup, Devin Price, our guy Logan Diggs, Cam East, Josh Pfeiffer, Hudson Wolf. Hudson's a good player. Yeah. Jaden Williams, Daniel Demery's a linebacker. Princely Uman Milan out. Henry Parrish, questionable game time decision. JJ Pegues, their starting nose tackle, questionable. Jeremy James, offensive lineman, questionable. Akilo Stone, questionable. Lewis Moore, I think he's I don't have the depth chart in front of me. Questionable. Now, offensive lineman Micah Pettis was questionable during the week. He's probable now. Matt Jones is their backup running back, probable. Caden Lee, starting receiver, probable. And Juice is on the list as probable. So we'll see what happens there. Injury report. All right. One small thing. I'm just going to go ahead and give you mine. This is a segment we do every week because we're going to hurry. We got to get through this because Dina, Phil's wife's got to use the car. I think my wife's got to go get. She's going to start looking at me here in a minute. We got to get ready for the day. But one small thing for me, I hope Cocky doesn't turn to the east stands where the Ole Miss band is during 2001 because it's bad luck.
Oh,
that's a little foreshadowing, by the way.
That's funny. My small thing is, what mascot are we rolling out today for the other team? I don't know. I mean, I understand. You used to have a rebel general or whatever dressed in all grays. I went to a school that had that. They've moved on. We were Sharks over there for a little bit, and now is it a bear? Have we settled on the bear? I don't know. They need to just pick random ones and put a jersey on it, like whatever they pick up down at the party supply store, and then just throw them on there. And just make that, like we do uniforms. Wonder what mascot we're going with this week. That's what Ole Miss feels like.
You need to go on down to the abandoned Sky City in outside of Oxford. Y'all remember Sky City or Roses?
City.
There is a Roses that exists in Greenville.
We've got Roses. That's right. I can actually see it right here. It's right there.
The Roses, man. Go to the abandoned. It's a little thing called Halloween Express.
Yes.
It's like, hey, go on down to Halloween Express. Get us a mascot today. Just no more Star Wars. No more Star Wars.
Ole Miss probably raided the now defunct mascot Hall of Fame to get all the foam heads, and they're just going to rotate out every week.
Yeah, Ed Orgeron doesn't have a job, and so they call him up. Hey, Ed, I know you used to coach here. We fired you. We got a job for you. Go to Hammond, Indiana, and go steal a mascot. I'm on it. I'm gonna fly to Chicago.
I can do it.
Go to Notre Dame, and then go up there and steal a bear hat. Anyway, so that's one of my small thing. One big thing today for me, for these, I like to just use one word: intensity. I think for the fans, there's a letdown against LSU. I think for the team, the break in the Akron game was good. I think for the fans, we kind of all were like stunned by that loss. It's like it's a tough one to get over for the fans and really the coaches too. Players are resilient. They just want to go play ball. They know we should have had them, whatever. And so then, but there needs to be some intensity and not fear. And like my personal feeling, which kind of sometimes aligns with the rest of y'all, I just got this weird feeling about today. Like if I were showing up to the stadium for LSU, if I were just a fan, I wasn't doing any of this, just, worked in another job, showed up every week, and I'd have been fired up beyond all belief for LSU, and I'd have probably thought they were going to beat them. Oh, LSU's not as good. Ole Miss got so much hype this offseason, and then boom, there goes Kentucky, and you're like, that was – so you're – I think a lot of people think of them like Alabama, myself included, subconsciously. I know intellectually they're not, but they're like, oh, Alabama, the really good teams sometimes lose a game, and then they come back and take it out on another team. That's emotionally. Intellectually, I'm like, Carolina's got some advantages. They got some advantages.
Right.
If some of Carolina's guys that we hadn't heard a lot out of that are really good play up to their potential today, Carolina have more advantages, and they're at home.
Right.
But you're just like, it's the other shoe drop syndrome. And I feel that. I haven't talked like that. So you hope that's not like how the team feels.
Yeah.
And most of the time that's not, but Carolina needs to come out with their hair on fire and take the fight to them. So intensity.
I like it. I'm risk reward today. That's mine. It was like, you're going to have plenty of opportunities on defense to play that risk reward game. High risk, high reward. High risk, it can backfire. I like the way our secondary stacks up, even though I know their biggest weapons are out on the edge and at the wide receiver position. But for me, it's that risk reward proposition. Just throw some exotic stuff at them, maybe that we haven't even seen or done, but maybe once this year, and get after Dart. But got to contain him. So, it's like you just gotta, that's what it is. It's all about the risk versus reward proposition on defense today.
I think your answer was better than mine.
No, I like intensity is I mean, you got to have both. Shit. Yeah. No. Sorry. I'm a little feral after a week of no power.
Billy Cotton chimes in. Billy, I hope you're having a wonderful morning.
Yeah.
I'm sure you are. Billy has more fun than anybody. Listen to the show.
Listen, really.
He says, Old Miss. Old O-L-D, Old Miss. played Furman, Wake, Georgia Southern, Middle Tennessee. They play a real team. What happened? Yeah, and I talked about that. In some years, that is actually a challenging non-conference schedule because they've all been good and really scared the bejesus and beaten big teams before. All of them: Wake, Furman, Southern, Middle Tennessee. So I don't fault them for schedule. They're not Kentucky that schedules, high school teams, St. Xavier, where Herb Street's kid plays and stuff. Yeah, right. They actually give them credit, but some years that happens. Teams go up, teams go down in college football. So that's it. Final thoughts. Just wanted to wish everyone again. And by the way, I don't know the details. Go buy your South Carolina and Clemson South Carolina Lottery education lottery cards. They're a sponsor of this, and go buy them because Carolina gets points if you buy the Carolina cards. As far as the Palmetto Cup or whatever the schools compete against. Plus, it helps a good cause, the education lottery. I think. Don't get political because I haven't read where all that money actually goes. So but hopefully it goes mostly to what it says. But they're one of our sponsors, so even if you don't really agree with how the good people in Columbia spend our money, then you can still just go support the show and support the South Carolina Gamecocks, South Carolina Education Lottery. Let's rock and roll. All right, kickoff is at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. That's important because it's not ABC, it's ESPN this week. Yeah. And then Alabama is next week. And Phil and I will be back with that. Don't forget Rooster Rant tomorrow night with Matt, Alex, and Joe. And then we'll be bright and early Monday, maybe with a JC and Morgan. That may be Tuesday because I need to talk to Phil about that. But we'll have a and Mike. But then we'll be back. We'll be back Monday with the show and then all that stuff as normal. Thank you guys very much. Enjoy these game days, my friends, and we will talk to you soon.